So first up today on the show, it's Jacob from Bryant. And Jacob writes, I'm 54, and I've had an advisor for a long time. But listening to your show, I realized he was betting my retirement income on the 4% rule. Now I'm worried about if I'll have enough. I have about $50,000 in my IRA, plus an additional $400,000 or so in my employer plan. And I'm not planning to retire early, but who knows what the future holds. How do I know if I'll run out of money? Well, Jacob, thanks for the question. There's a lot in there, a lot of places we can choose to attack this. I do want to mention first, pick out a little part of that question where he says, who knows what the future holds? You know, that's very important. I'm glad that he recognizes that, and he has no plans to retire early. But I did look up a quick stat, and this changes a little bit, but not too much, online before we went on the air, that the age that most Americans believe that they are going to retire is age 65. But the age that they actually end up retiring is around, on average, 62. So bottom line there, most Americans retire earlier than they anticipate. And the reasons are many, but job loss is one of the main ones. It said 56% of those 50 and over who had steady income from a job had been pushed out earlier than they wanted to go. So job loss, a big reason for that, Chad, and also health becomes a big reason. So it is a great question, and there's a lot to it we're going to get into. But I think starting out, it's good that Jacob is thinking about being prepared to potentially retire early.
And I think this is a pretty common question that we get, do I have enough? I think that's kind of the one thing that all clients need to come in with first is, do I have enough? And I think the first thing that we go back to them asking is, how do you know you have enough? Because you haven't told us what you need.
Right.
So we've kind of defined that. I think that for Jacob, the very first thing that I would encourage him to do is to start defining what he needs. Mm-hmm. And, we do that on a basis of required and desired income, because it's not about the assets, it's about income.
Yeah, so we don't have, Jacob, enough information in your question to really give you that solid answer, right? There's a few more numbers we need to plug into the math equation here. If you have $50,000 in your IRA and $400,000 in your employer plan, I think that's great. Is $450,000 enough to provide you the income you need, as Chad mentioned, which means you can pay the bills, and the income you want, which is your discretionary income? What do you want to do in retirement? And if you don't know how to quantify that just yet, begin to think about what you plan to do when you do walk away from work, and then we have to monetize that and determine how much income that's going to require.
Yeah, and Scott, you've probably seen this a lot. There's two sides to this story as well. Not only what they need, but it's also the investments. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of what you're doing on a personal basis, but then also what you're doing on an investment basis. And what you can be doing on the investment basis can be really good, your contributions and all those things. But if you're not doing those same things in those personal finance habits, mm-hmm. then whatever you're doing on the investment habits, it could not be able to keep up. I've said this 100 times. I could go to the gym every day, but if I don't eat right, I'm not going to see the results.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's the same thing on the investment side. You could be making these contributions and doing the things that you're doing, but your spending and the debt load that you're going to carry into retirement you may not ever be able to catch up to what you need, and actually to make sure that what you have saved is enough.